Alright folks, so in the last few talks of mine I've really been lambasting people. People that in my life, people that are just behaving badly. I find people that are unconscious, and as soon as I say that, it just sounds so judgmental. It sounds like I'm conscious and I'm aware, I'm taking responsibility, and I'm not trying to hurt others and deceive others and manipulate others, and I'm the good one and they're the bad people, right? And they sort of the impure and I'm the pure. And sometimes when I re-listen to talks of mine of such nature, I don't want to upload them because I feel is that maybe where I'm coming from. Maybe I'm coming from a place of bitterness. Maybe I'm coming from a very small-minded approach, also a victimized approach, where I'm not seeing the godliness in others. I'm not seeing their divine state. I'm cherry picking, and I'm only seeing the darkness within them, the evil within them, in a sense, the depravity within them, the pathology within them. Okay? And so therefore I shouldn't, maybe I'm just being moody, maybe I'm just having a bad day, maybe I'm also spreading negativity, spreading a lot of darkness, sharing a lot of darkness. And so sometimes I'm apprehensive to upload some of my videos. Okay? And what I realize, I'm not trying to damn people here, right? The people that are literally trying to rob from me, the people that are trying to manipulate me, the people that are trying to gaslight me, right? I'm not damning them. I'm not I don't hate them. I don't despise them. To a certain degree, sometimes the emotions come up where I do. I don't loathe them. I don't wish bad upon them. Or, I don't curse them. I don't see them any less valuable than myself. Okay? I don't see them any less worthy than myself. Okay? And I'm not saying that in a way, sometimes I'm saying that I'm right and they are wrong. So again, I can understand reality, and I can understand my perspective, my point of view, and I can see what is right, what is wrong. Okay? And so for myself, the truth is that when it comes to these others, I'm more disappointed in them than I do hate them or despise them. Right? There is an empathy, there is met with a whole frustration with them, right? But there's an empathy for understanding that your level of unconsciousness is a burden, is a curse unto them already, without them knowing. They know not what they do. They already, are so disadvantaged in a sense, and they don't even know it. Right? They are so hoodwinked, they are so gaslighted, they are in such fear, they're in such trauma, okay? They're in such confusion, they're codependent, they're self-sabotaging in themselves, they're self-denying of the divine within themselves, they have no faith within themselves or faith in the universe or in the way of things, right? And so there's an empathy there too, because I see the chaos in their life and how it just gets worse, and I feel sorry for them. And I see their pride. Sometimes pride's not a bad thing. I see their grandiosity. I see their lack of willpower, or no willpower at all. I see their lack of confidence. Okay? And what I see them as well is as arrested development, regressed, okay? Almost like children. Like with my landlord, who doesn't want to pay me back the deposit on the refund and wants to fix his whole house, the carpets of his house, when there's just a small burn mark on one of them, which is nothing major. And he's wanting to negotiate, and he's wanting to get one up on me. I just see him as a child who's not getting his way. I just see children that are jealous or envious of one another, right? Are scared. That's what I see. I just see children and they think that they're adults, and they think that they're professionals, and they think that they are righteous and virtuous. And I don't. I see sinners. I see the lost. I see the damned, in a way. I see the not the purgatory that they're in, because they don't. Well, that's something else. But they don't know. And so for myself, I see them as a sense of evil. But what does evil mean? Evil means something that's not ripe, something that's in transformation, something that's not ready yet. Like, for example, something that's raw, okay, that still needs to be cooked. I don't know, you got ingredients, you got a cake baking in the oven, right? It's all doughy still, it hasn't rised yet, it hasn't baked yet. It's not ready. And to eat uncooked, apparently, or raw dough will make you sick. But if you wait for the dough to rise, I don't know how it works, if you cook the dough, it turns into a bread, that's healthy for you, it's not a problem, right? Fruit, vegetables, if they're underripe, it can cause you stomach aches, stomach problems. If you eat raw meat, you're not used to it, most likely, it'll make you sick. It'll make you sick. So the unconscious, which is also me to a degree, right, or the unaware, or the evil people in the world are still in this transformation, right? They're not yet formed, if you follow. They split within themselves. They're an illusion of themselves. They don't, they're a fabrication. They haven't been born yet. I've spoken about this in a way. They haven't been initiated into life to a certain degree. Now, I know that sounds very terrible, but I think that's what it is. I think that's what the movie The Matrix is about. I think, that's exactly what it is. It's and so you're saying, are the people in the Matrix, do they not have love? Do they not have wonder or imagination? Do they not know kindness? Do they not know joy? Do they not know ecstasy? Do they not know grief? See, it gets very murky here. Are they not alive? So you're saying that a mother who's just lost her child, who's grieving, is not really alive, is not really feeling that grief, although she lives in a pod in the Matrix. But there is a part of the unborn. There is a part. There is something like that. There is something like that. And so, where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is that it's for myself, and the energy and the message of my videos is not about, again, damning others. It's not about going to war with others, okay? It's not a superiority thing. It's not that I'm higher and they're lower. It's not a judgment. Although I don't think there's anything wrong with judgment, because judgment is simply discernment, and discernment is very good. Like in the New Age, they'll say on the one hand, you shouldn't judge. But on the same time, they'll say, what is it? Don't let negativity into your life, or something like that. Something like that. So then how do you know what's negative and what's positive? Right? Or like negative thoughts. Right? You shouldn't have negative thoughts. You say, well, how are you knowing that they're negative if you're not passing a judgment that they're negative? You see, so you have to pass judgment, because judgment is discerning. But it's not just judgment. Another word for judgment that I find is understanding, from where I'm coming from, the message that I'm trying to say, is that it's an understanding of what is going on, right, with others, with consciousness, etc., right? It's an understanding, and we need to understand. And so I can't take that understanding away. Are these people in my life, my brother that's been a very much a narcissist figure in my life? Has he been a great teacher in my life? Yes. Should I honor him for that? I don't know. The landlords that keep stealing from me, my staff member that was stealing from me, Are they teaching me lessons? Yes. Are they divine? a part of them is, do I let them in my life? Do I forgive them? Do I respect them? I respect their situation. Like if somebody's got a disease and it's contagious, they're sick, you don't want to be around them because you will become contaminated, right? It will, okay, it's a bad analogy, but it sort of works. It's going to affect you. You're going to get sick as well. Okay, so you keep your distance, right? You respect it. You respect the person that they're ill and that they can get you severely sick. Do you forgive them for what they've done to you? Right, let's say for myself, the people that I've spoken about forgiveness as well. Do you forgive them? You've got to be careful of that. Because if you openly forgive them for their actions, they don't understand that unless they're asking for forgiveness. But if you outrightly come and give them forgiveness, what you are doing is saying that I understand you, you can't help yourself, you don't know any better, it's in your very nature, you're not capable of much anything else. I understand. So we can carry on. And this is what we do all the time. We excuse the behavior, we excuse the action. When the person is still not healed, it still hasn't understood, hasn't gone through the fires, hasn't gone through the death rebirth, doesn't know, like my brother, he doesn't know consciously the effect that he's had on my life. And by me saying to him, I forgive you because you've been such a good teacher in my life. Let me buy you a bottle of your favorite whiskey. Thank you for teaching me, allowing me to have boundaries, right? How to respect myself. Thank you. If I do, he's going to go, sure, I know, I've done a great job. Thank you very much. I'll take that whiskey and I'll take your wallet and I'll take the watch and I'll take your time and your energy and I will, whatever it is, I'll take full advantage of you because now it's almost like saying in a way for the lioness or the lion to say to the cheetah, help yourself to my cubs because you're hungry. It's not a great example. But I understand you're hungry, it's in your nature, whatever. Let me not stand in the way. Let me not protect my family. Let me not protect come on in. You say to the vultures, to the vampires, and that's what you're doing. So really, we must really understand this thing of forgiveness. Right? The forgiveness is almost that we don't hold the resentment, almost, I would say, the resentment. The energy of resentment, because I think that's a heavy energy and that will weigh us down. I think it's fine to feel resentment, there's no question about it. We have to feel resentment at times towards people. Someone murders your lover, your child, right? You're going to resent them, but when you perhaps potentially understand their unconscious levels of themselves and that resentment for yourself is just really like acid burning away inside, eventually that resentment needs to go. And then the forgiveness needs to happen, but not to that person. I don't know, this is a bit more complicated. I haven't thought much further on this. But I don't know. The word forgive, it's giving something. And you don't want to give something of yourself to somebody who's taken so much from you already. You don't want to give any more else, and you don't want to even give them your respect. You don't want to give them your thanks. You don't give them your appreciation. You just don't want to. And so, again, for so many different reasons, I think I don't know what it is. We've got to do another talk on that as well. But folks, that's just some of the feelings that I wanted to share in regards to my videos, where I've been really not standing on ceremony not being courteous at times, being intense, being aggressive, being passionate about, let's call them evil people or unright people in their actions. And I think it's absolutely necessary. And you know what? I stand in my own power and the authority of my own conviction, in this. In my feelings towards people, that I feel justified. I really do, and I feel sincere in that. That again, I'm not coming from a place of an eye for an eye, right? Or revenge. I'm not coming from that point of view, or a loathingness or something. Yes, again, I have a broken heart about it, but it's not a off with their heads type of, passion. Sometimes I'm speaking, but it's figurative. It's not literal the way that I'm saying it. And so I don't know. I really feel for myself confident, and that's why I will be uploading, continuing uploading talks of this nature. But also, I must say, I'm not sure when I'll upload this. I'm very backlogged with a lot of talks, but I've also had a little bit of a not a change of heart, I would say, but a change of perspective recently on people and unconscious people, whatever it is, from what they've done, what they do to me, what they do to one another, what they do to themselves and the planet at large, in regards to it being more of a new soul, old soul type of scenario, possibly. In brief, that what you're seeing is a lot of new souls on the planet, right? A lot of new souls, and that for me really makes sense. And that's why, for myself, I don't think that their judgment in the afterlife, or even for their actions, is so as intense as it would be for somebody who's an older soul, if that makes sense. An adult, somebody who's an adult, in a realistic world, in a healthy world, an adult, you have more, it's not okay for them to go and steal another adult's ice cream, in a way. Behavior like a child. An adult can be held responsible. An adult can be put in prison for their actions because they know better, in a way, in a more of a ideal world. But a child is let off the hook because they don't really know what they do. They can't understand necessarily their actions. And so I think that's what might be going on here. I mean, dare I say it's the reality of things. I don't know, but it's an assumption. It helps me understand things a little bit better. That what you're seeing is people that could have never have gotten the world in a holistic living. We could have never have understood the consequences of our actions when it comes to the way that we live life. I'm saying, we could have never avoided plastic. We could have, we just didn't have the time to work it all out. To live holistically, healthily on the planet. I'm saying, in a symbiotic relationship with nature. Our very own nature is too self-serving, is too aligned with instant gratification. Our psychology is too intense, it's too complicated to figure it out early on in the game, to be self-governing. Especially without medicinal plants and herbs and, ceremonies and being in touch with nature and the spirits and the ancestors. Especially, there's no ways. Human beings are the biggest predator to this planet. There's no question about it. But I don't know if it could have been any other way. There's no question that the leadership has been is misguided. I mean, the leadership is what it is directed by people of the underworld, the shadow side of, whatever it is, the dark forces, if you want to call it. They have been pushing their agenda for a very long time and influencing humanity, and if it wasn't supposed to be that way, it wouldn't have been that way, but it is that way. So they have been a terrible force. But I think even within our human nature, dealing with climate, dealing with disease, even before antibiotics, without modernity and civilization, I don't know, I could be very wrong, obviously. But I think this is a place for new souls. Mostly, 90% of the planet, let's say, is new soul material. Okay? Again, I can't... And that's sort of where I feel that I'm coming from. So again, it's not saying that anyone who's a new soul is more important than an old soul. Both have to be respected. There's no point in saying that somebody... that an infant or a baby of 9 months or 10 months old is more important than somebody of 40 or 50 or 60 years old or 70 years old. It's all the same. It's all of the same importance. It's still life. It's still soul. You see? And so, that's just my thinking. So, but again, the way that nature is, we reap what we sow, there's no question about it. So it gets quite complicated, this. Because again, does punishment fit the crime? The fact that, there's just so much climate calamity going on. Why that the Titanic is sinking, and is everybody on the Titanic responsible for making it go as fast as it needed to go? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's hard, these things we can't understand it. It's a mystery, folks, at the end of the day. But I hope you know what I'm saying in that regard. That even though that most people could have never got recycling or plastic under control, I'm just giving one example, folks, or fast foods or something like that. That was the only way that we could do business to a certain degree, right? There was no way that it was a ticking time bomb. The planet was never going to reach consciousness before it self-imploded. The tools of the technology are too... whether we... again, this is a very hard subject because, again, has technology been thrust upon us before we've even been ready for it? Have we been given the tools of war that we can, before we learn to become conscious? Again, it's like giving children, 5-year-old children, machine guns and machetes and say, have fun. And grenades and, dynamite, sticks of dynamite, and say, here, and matches, and say, here you go, have a... I say, well, we don't know what this is. Especially, let's say, to, people in an African country, in a third world country, people from a village, and say, here you go, play with this. See what you get up to. Chainsaws, see what... Oh, I've got a chainsaw, I'm going to go cut down that tree, I need wood. We're going to know. So, it's hard. This is all hard to say. And so, I think I'll end off on this. Is that if it's all based in love, right, and it's all the oneness, in a way, which I'm very reluctant to use that term, but if it's all based in love, we understand that there's different stages going on of consciousness and development and evolution and of soul growth. And that this school of life, planet Earth, is a kindergarten. And it's very, very, very messy, right? And the teachers themselves are kindergartens, are children operating at a kindergarten level. So what you're going to get is what you see is about. And this is this realm of reality that we find ourselves in, perhaps. Alright, folks, we'll end off on that for now. Take care.